What is happening, good people? We are about to kick off 2025 with Macro Dirt Podcast number 27 with me and Jared D's Nuts. What's up, brother?
What's up, Poontang?
Poontang. Happy New Year, man. How are you?
You saw Full Metal Jacket, right?
Yes.
Best quote in that movie, Animal Mother. He's like, if I'm going to die for a word, my word is Poontang.
Oh, that's pretty fucking classic. Great way to start off the year. And while
Yeah.
we're on the word, I don't do New Year's resolutions. I do a word that inspires me for the year.
Okay.
Last year, my word was faith, and it really came in handy. This year, my word is growth because I need to experience some personal growth in a couple of different ways and grow my business in a couple of very, very specific ways. So that's kind of what I'm focused on this year. How about you? Resolutions, word, anything?
A word for 2025. I would go with growth. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something to kind of, I kind of write it and stick it on the board there, and then just kind of remember. It reminds me to like follow up on stuff,
Yeah.
like don't leave your like loose ends. You're like, hey, you were just pursuing that. Either finish it or close the loop and get it out of your face. That stuff's really important to me this year. So we've obviously got to dig into the markets, and I want to just talk about December a little tiny bit because December in the markets was really wild, man. We had the NASDAQ up 50 bips. S&P down 2.5%, Dow down 5%, right? We had the dollar index up 2.5 in December, and I know you have some views on this, but we had the BCOM holding in for a 65 basis point gain against that move in the dollar, which is staggering to me, right? Then we had bonds off 7% in December, right? Yields went from 417 to 457 during an easing cycle, which has me sitting up in my chair. The yield curve is out to 2s10s is out to plus 30 basis points. It was a huge move in December, right? And basically everything in the equity market involved with natural resources got monkey hammered for double-digit percentage losses. Energy stocks, uranium, solar, industrial miners, gold miners, basic materials, natural resources, and throw in housing and home builders. Double-digit decimation in December. What's your take on any of that?
Any of it?
Yeah, pick something.
Let's talk about the dollar. It's funny, so we're recording on Thursday. Before I walked in here, the euro just gapped lower. It just absolutely gapped lower. Dollar index making new highs. Like what I think I just saw in my office was a panic liquidation in the euro, like a panic liquidation. It was gapping, like, bids and offers all over the place. Like it was a panic liquidation. And yesterday, Sunday night, I tweeted that I have never been more bearish on the dollar. Like this is, I mean, right? Like this is as maxed out as it gets. There was a chart that I retweeted. I think it was from Bar Chart that I don't know what methodology they were using, but they put up a chart and they showed that the dollar was the most overvalued in history.
Oh, fuck.
So just go in my timeline, look for that chart, you'll see it. I mean, I'm getting my ass kicked, but this is, this you got to there's got to be a pivot around here somewhere.
The dollar is basically up 9% since the beginning of December.
That's incredible.
It's staggering for me. Like I'm not pushing back at all. For me, I just look at that chart and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not touching that thing. Like that's a range breaker. That is a range top breaker. We got a new extension on it today up to 109. Like I can't touch that thing. Like not bullish, not bearish. I'm watching it and I'm literally just amazed at the fact that commodities are hanging in the face of it. I mean, gold is on the highs of the recent rally today to 26.57. The BCOM looks like it's trying to take out the double top at 100 and rip through that while the dollar. So like something, I'm onto you where something's got to give. And if I were going to bet, I would like to take the long commodity side and short dollar side. I'm just too scared to put the short dollar trade on. That's all I can say.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you on long commodities. Like it's actually, they've been acting pretty well. Gold has been, I actually just wrote this in my newsletter. Oil is 73 and a half, right? It's very sneaky, like $5 higher, and gold is 26.57. It's very sneaky, $100 higher. These are very sneaky moves, and you have to respect the sneaky moves. Like there's been no noise about oil up $5 whatsoever. Nobody's been talking about it.
Not a peep, not a peep. So we've got the first day of trading, as you said, we've got a 2 sigma rally in oil, which is a range breaking rally, very important for me. It was manifested apparently because President Xi said the government in China, obviously, the government will conduct more proactive macroeconomic policies and continue to support the economy. And the read through from that was that there's going to be energy demand, but add to your sneaky commodity strength. The data that came out that kind of forced his statement was weaker. That Kaizen index, like manufacturing index, came in much weaker. And he had to come out and sort of say something. There was a big dump in the Shanghai Composite last night, and it's just very interesting to me that that oil got the risk on call,
Yeah.
through all of that weaker Chinese stocks, stronger dollar, and the oil is like, breaking itself out of a range. So that's a relative, jumping off the screens at us today. So we'll keep an eye on that thread, for sure. What do you think of the gold market, JD?
I mean, it's still in a range. I'm not I mean, I have my core position, which I've had for years, but I really don't want to touch it until it breaks 2780,
Mm,
and we get range extension.
yeah, that's
So
fair.
could be a month, could be 6 months, I don't know,
So we're in for a consolidation period. It feels like
Yeah.
that makes sense. What are the other sort of things in the market jumping out at you? You know that
I'll tell you what's jumping out at me is freaking Apple down $5 today.
is it? I didn't even look at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, are we eventually going to take the Mag Sevens out with higher rates or something like that? Like the thing that's amazing to me, like Nvidia, just I like the last day of the trading year, Nvidia basically held the market up on its back. One stock, one sector. Everything else shit canned, and they're panic buying Nvidia like it's about to come off the board, and nobody's going to be allowed to trade it anymore. Yeah, so that stuff is kind of like freaks me out. That's just, those are the only sectors in December that were even able to stay above water. Like the only positive sectors in the month of December were consumer discretionary, which is Tesla,
Which is Tesla. Yeah.
right? Semiconductors, which is Nvidia, cybersecurity, and airlines. All of them barely in positive territory. So it's like this one trick pony for the month, and I don't know, there's something about me that's really skeptical about that. Right now the S&P is wedged, right? We're wedged in between the 100-day moving average, which is, wait, where is it? I
By
have
the
it.
way, let me say something about the S&P real quick.
Go ahead.
So the S&P was down 2.37% during the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Mm.
That was the worst week between Christmas and New Year's since 1937.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's Santa rally has kind of been the mantra, and it
Yeah.
usually happens. You know what I mean? So that's really wild, man. So we look at the S&P now, and I'm like, I'm still bullish, but I'm skeptical, and I'm accepting the consolidation mode because we're wedged in between the 50-day up at 60 and a quarter and the 100-day below, which is around 5,900. And I'm going to tell you that I think that a break of that below, if we see a continuation of this large tech weakness, you break the 100-day moving average down at 5,900, and we're going to 5,700. We're going to test the 200-day moving average. It only makes sense to me for that to happen because the yield curve, the move in the yield curve is kind of fascinating. Last year, it settled at minus 30 basis points in the hole, right? This year, it settled at plus 30 basis points, right? The entire move from par to 30 basis points was in December. You
You
know what I
know,
mean?
a lot of people ask me, how do you play the yield curve? And
Yeah.
there used to be a couple of ETNs that were put out by Barclays. One was called STPP and the other one was called Flat. And they were flattening and steepening ETNs. And an exchange traded note is basically like a bond. It's a 10-year bond, and then it matures, so they went away. So
Mm.
really the only way to play it in listed equities is eyeball, which is not a perfect way to play it. But if you have an opinion on the yield curve, just just buy the front end, just buy twos,
Yeah,
right? Because if you think that Trump is going to shit all over the Fed and make them cut rates or whatever,
it's all going to be front end.
it's all going to be the front end. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's a very good call, actually. Yeah, I'm not. I don't. I'm not looking to play the yield curve. It's one of my dials on my speedometer that tell me how fast I can drive in the equity market. And at plus 30 basis points, this is there's a lot of adjusting to do, I think, in the equity market still. So that's why I'm more than happy to concede that they should pull back, and I don't think that they've fully adjusted to this move to plus 30 basis points yet. I really don't. So and we've got this bizarre dynamic where rates are rifling higher while Powell is lowering rates. You know what I mean? Like, this dynamic makes me a little bit uncomfortable. It's kind of the bond market saying we're not comfortable with what's going on, to
Yeah.
me. you know um Heading, so what do you have any I don't really do. I'm not a trader that's set up to make predictions anymore, because I don't think about what the markets are going to do. I let them tell me what they're going to do, and then I try to follow along. What are we thinking for the new year? There's a couple of things that I'm willing to stick my neck out on. A couple of surprises that could happen, but that's one of the things we had in our pre-call combo, were about the surprises that are potentially out there in 2025. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I think that most ordinary people would be surprised if stocks went down.
Yep.
I think most ordinary people would be surprised if interest rates went down. I
Yep.
think most people would be surprised if the dollar went down, and I think most people would be surprised if commodities went up. Like Byron Wien used to have his top 10 list of surprises for the new year. And the funny thing about that list was it's not like he had 1,000 batting average. He wasn't really trying to make predictions, but
Right.
what he was trying to do was say, this is what would surprise people the most.
Yeah.
And inevitably, like 5 out of the 10 things would happen, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And only because he was like, nobody's expecting
I
that,
know.
you know? It is classic trading sentiment kind of stuff that he was good at. But one of I kind of feel like Bitcoin has got a bullseye on it too, a little bit. Even though it's broken out, I'm a little bit long. I'm off the zero boundary. I'm managing the risk, but kind of just like into the Biden administration, he was going to be the big change in energy policy, and what exploded right into the Biden inauguration were solar stocks. And they did a giant run up into the Biden, and then he got inaugurated, and then they never saw the light of day again.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
sector got quartered, halved, and fucking thrown out for dead. And I still think it's going to zero, quite honestly. I think it's going, I know the solar sector, it's going to trade zero. The whole fucking thing is going to go away. Um, I'm not patient enough to wait around for that trade. I have a small tactical tan short on, and I'm not taking it off until it gets to fucking, unless it doubles from here. But like Bitcoin, like Trump is like, we're going to be the Bitcoin administration. We're going to hire a Bitcoin czar. We've got David Sachs
Strategic
coming in.
Bitcoin reserve.
Yeah, Bitcoin reserve. Like,
Yeah.
what would be more shocking to anybody than to see this thing fall on its face in the new year? Like, wait, what? Trump? Like, we went 100K bid and then it fucking unraveled? What?
Yeah.
Like, that's one of my things, man. So that's why I'm managing that trade just like any other trade. I don't have laser eyes. I'm not married to it. It's fucking same thing as being limit long the S&P. When you get to your limit, you stop out. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm looking at the world, man. I can, like I said, I'm staying bullish stocks, but I'm more than happy to look for a pullback. My one thing that I am going to trade is if we get the typical waterfall slide into the 200-day moving average, where we have a couple of huge tick index prints on the downside, which illustrates agnostic selling, 3 or 4 negative days in a row in the S&P. We have it peter out with a gap open lower around the 200-day moving average. That's going to be a buy for me the first time down. like
Yep.
both hands, eyes closed, not worried about it. So we'll see. Maybe that'll be the right trade. Maybe it won't. Um, I guess time will tell. Time will tell. Should we head off markets? Is there anything on markets that we should cover today, JD? We wanted to get a good, quick conversation out to get people's heads sorted for the new year and get them thinking
I
about
just
things.
I want to talk about Apple a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So I have four monitors. I have a PC with two monitors and a Mac with two monitors. And so one of the monitors for the Mac last week shit the bed, like it just died. And I'd had it for like 12 years. I had it for a really long time. So I ordered a new one on Apple. It got there the next day. The next day. And dude, Apple is awesome. Like you open the box, you take the monitor out, you put it on the desk, you plug in the power cord, you plug in the Thunderbolt cable, and it just works.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. You have to like download any drivers or plug in any other cables. Like it just works.
Right.
I love Apple. The stock is still going fucking down. It is still going down. It is 41 times for a company that does not grow. I love them. I have all. I'm talking to you on a Mac right now. I have an iMac. That's what I'm talking to. Yeah. So I love the company. It's worth half. It's worth 20 times. That's what it's worth.
I feel like they have no chance of coming up with a new product. None.
Yeah.
No chance. Like, what are they gonna do next? Like, you know what I mean? Like, was it them that tried the glasses, or was that Google?
That was Google, but
Yeah.
now Meta has glasses.
Yeah, that's like a fucking top tick in technology to me because I don't give a fuck what they say. Nobody's wearing the glasses. Zero people. Sorry, Tim. Sorry, Tim Cook. Sorry, Eric Schmidt. Nobody's gonna ever wear the glasses. Okay. So, I mean, once tech gets that through their head, because I think that's what they're trying to say. No, this is our next innovation. You know, keep the fucking valuation train going. This is the next thing, and the whole world is like, yeah, no, we're not putting glasses on. So, I feel like it's run into a dead end for innovation, and I think that's why everybody's rushed into like the semiconductor space. It's like, okay, then we'll do the AI trade. And I still think that there's a chance that trade was so popular in 2025 that if we see rates continuing higher, like I don't know how those stocks hold up. You know, if there's another inflation impulse, think about this year. Like we could have a repeat of 2022 where there's inflation impulse, strength in commodities, and just some of the money has to come out of Mag 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I feel like if we're set up for anything, we could be set up for that. So those are kind of the last thoughts that I have on the market going forward. You know what I mean? I got to let things transpire and give me some direction for the new year before I can have a strong view. So what about if we go off markets? What'd you do for New Year's Eve, brother?
I had a party at my house.
Did you?
Yeah, I had about 30 people. The house is great for entertaining. We got a huge living room. It's great for entertaining.
Nice.
It was a good party.
What'd you play? Did you get your DJ?
No,
tracks
I
going?
didn't. No, but I have like a Sonos sound system, and I was playing some of my old mixes and stuff like that. So
Nice.
yeah, it was good.
Nice.
And then I got sick, so you can tell by my voice that
You were
I'm
partying way too hard on New Year's,
partying.
man. So you know what's amazing is that you were probably in bed at 1:00 on New Year's Eve, and you're sick. And I was out at Phish 3 consecutive nights in a row, probably out until at least 2 in the morning each night, and I'm feeling like $1 million. That was so good for my soul, going to the garden and being there. I got to take my son, my 19-year-old son, to
Oh, you took Ed?
Yeah, I took him to his first Phish show. You know, he's a big like Chili Peppers, Van Halen fan kind of thing, and I didn't know how it was going to go. And he was pretty cool through the first set and really enjoying it. And then they ended with a Talking Heads cover of Cross-Eyed and Painless, which is one of their Arsenal songs. And the song ended and he looked at me and he goes, "What the fuck was that?" You know, so I've got him hook, line, and sinker. I invited him to come with me the next day, and he was a little banged up. He had some plans. I was like, okay, if you wanted to go, I would have taken you tonight. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to pass. By the time I left for the garden, he was like, I'm such an idiot. I should have just come with you. So that was great, man. I got him hook, line, and sinker, and I got him excited to go see the band again. So I'm really pumped for that. Although, in my opinion, the 2 nights leading into New Year's Eve were 100 times better than the New Year's Eve night for whatever reason. It just the gag that they pulled off was kind of a dud for me, and the set lists weren't as good. They just didn't play as ferocious a concert.
Yeah.
But all in, man, 3 nights of Phish at the Garden is the best thing for my soul that I can come up with, and I feel really good going into the new year.
Awesome.
Yeah. Is there anything else we need to cover, JD?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, we can leave this as a brief beginning of the year. We'll get in. I'm going to post some charts along with some of the stuff that we talked about. And we'll adjourn till very early next week. So we'll probably get another podcast up early in the week. Everyone, please remember, whenever you're listening to Macro Dirt podcasts, like it, subscribe to it. And if you haven't joined the Macro Dirt dual subscription yet, they're selling like hotcakes. So jump in and get involved with me and JD in 2025. That's how I'm looking at things. Sound good, partner?
Buy the Macro Dirt.
Dual sub, money
Yep.
in the bank.
Yep.
Hasta la vagina, everybody.
I still love vagina.